Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So we are in late 2025 right now, and honestly, the smartphone market it's kind of overwhelming, right? I mean, the iPhone 17 Pro just came out and it's a beast. But looking at the prices, a lot of us are looking back at the older value champs. In my left hand, I've got the legendary iPhone 13 Pro in graphite. This phone, man, it has a special place in my heart. And in my right hand, the iPhone 15 Pro in natural titanium. This was the phone that changed the game with USB-C and titanium rails. Today, I want to do a really honest, humble side-by-side comparison. I've used both of these as my daily drivers for years. I'm going to cover everything from the design, is titanium actually better, to the display, performance with the new iOS 26, battery life realities, and of course the cameras. I'll also touch on Apple Intelligence. Does it matter that the 13 Pro doesn't have it? If you're currently using a 13 Pro and thinking about upgrading, or maybe you're on an older iPhone and confused about which one gives you the best bang for your buck in late 2025, stick around. This video is for you. So before we get into it, I want to give you a bit of context on these specific units I have here, just so we are totally transparent. This 13 Pro in graphite, it was my main daily driver for like 2 full years. I skipped the 14 Pro entirely. But you know, eventually the battery just tanked. It got down to 71% health. And let me tell you, it sucked. I was charging this thing like 2-3 times a day. Standby time was basically non-existent. So I actually did something a little different. I bought an aftermarket battery and replaced it myself. It was actually pretty easy. Now, if you look here, it says unknown part because it's not a genuine Apple part. But honestly, no problem. The battery health is back to 100% effectively, and the performance is just, it's like new. It easily handles a whole day again. So this review applies to you even if your 13 Pro is aging. A battery swap brings this thing back to life. And this iPhone 15 Pro, this was my main phone until I recently grabbed the 17 Pro. The battery health is sitting at 86% with about 486 cycles. I've used this thing for everything, gaming, work, you name it. Okay, let's talk design. When the 15 Pro first launched, the big hype was titanium. And holding them now, yeah, you feel it. The 13 Pro is made of surgical grade stainless steel and it weighs about 204 grams. It's dense, it feels premium for sure, like a piece of jewelry, but it's heavy. The 15 Pro uses grade 5 titanium and drops that weight to 187 grams. It doesn't sound like much on paper, about 17 grams, but in the hand, it's noticeable. Plus, the edges on the 15 Pro are contoured, so they're softer. The 13 Pro has those sharp, squared off edges that kind of dig into your palm after a while. And there is one more massive change on the side here. The iPhone 15 Pro was the first to ditch the iconic mute switch that we had for over a decade. Instead, we got the action button. On my 13 Pro, I still have that clicky switch. It's satisfying, you know? But the action button on the 15 Pro is way more versatile. I have mine set to launch the camera instantly, but you can set it to focus modes, flashlight, or even a custom shortcut. It took some muscle memory to get used to losing the switch, but now it's hard to go back. Display-wise, they are both 6.1-inch OLEDs with ProMotion, but the 15 Pro gets way brighter outdoors up to 2000 nits. If you're outside a lot, that's a huge plus. But here's the thing. We're running iOS 26 on both of these. You guys know iOS 26 introduced that new liquid glass aesthetic, right? It's super resource heavy with all those fluid animations. Surprisingly, the 13 Pro handles it beautifully. That 120Hz display still looks buttery smooth with the new animations. I honestly don't see a huge gap in fluidity between them, just navigating the UI. However, when you look closer, you see the generation gap. The iPhone 13 Pro still has the notch. It's classic, but it's there. The iPhone 15 Pro uses the dynamic island. It makes the phone feel way more modern. And in iOS 26, the way the liquid glass animations drip out of the island is just sick. Also, if you look at the borders, the bezels on the 15 Pro are noticeably thinner. It just makes the content pop a bit more. And finally, the always-on display. The 13 Pro has ProMotion, but it only ramps down to 10 Hz. That's low, but not low enough to leave the screen on. The 15 Pro screen can drop all the way down to 1 Hz. That allows it to have the always-on display without killing the battery. I love being able to just glance at my phone on the desk to check the time or widgets without tapping it. Let's talk power. The 13 Pro has the A15 Bionic and the 15 Pro has the A17 Pro chip. I actually ran Geekbench 6 on these exact phones just to give you real numbers. The 13 Pro scored 2,426 single-core and 5,995 multi-core. The 15 Pro hit 2,787 single-core and 7,196 multi-core. What does that mean for you? For opening apps, swiping around, they feel almost the same. But the 15 Pro has 8GB of RAM compared to the 6GB on the 13 Pro. On my 13 base model, apps reload constantly. On the 13 Pro with 6GB, it's decent, but on the 15 Pro with 8GB, multitasking is just solid. Apps stay open longer. Gaming is where the 15 Pro tries to flex. It was the first iPhone to run real AAA titles like Resident Evil Village. And yeah, it's insane that a phone can play console games, but, and this is a big consideration, the heat. The 15 Pro gets warm, like sometimes uncomfortably hot. It's a known thing with the 15 Pro series. If you play for long sessions, it throttles. The 13 Pro, it gets warm, sure, but it feels a bit more stable thermally for just regular mobile gaming. Now, cameras. This is tricky. The 13 Pro has a 12 megapixel main sensor. The 15 Pro bumped that up to 48 megapixel. But here's the real win. The 15 Pro takes 24 megapixel photos by default. Now you might be asking, why does that matter? Or didn't the 14 Pro have 48 megapixel too? Yes, the 14 Pro had a 48 megapixel sensor, but it defaulted to taking 12 megapixel photos unless you switched to ProRAW. It crunched all those pixels down. The iPhone 15 Pro does something smarter. It takes the amazing low light data from a 12 megapixel image and merges it instantly with the high detail data from the 48 megapixel sensor. The result is a 24 megapixel image. That is the Goldilocks sweet spot. You get double the resolution of the 13 Pro or 14 Pro default shots. And this isn't just a number on a spec sheet. When you crop into a photo, the detail is actually there. You can zoom in on text or a face in a group shot, and it's not a blurry mess. It's genuinely sharper. However, there's a downside I gotta mention. The minimum focus distance. On my 13 Pro, I can get really close to a subject with the main lens and it stays in focus. On the 15 Pro, if I get that close, it blurs out and switches to the ultra wide lens for macro mode, which looks okay, but not as good as the main sensor. It can be kinda annoying if you take a lot of food pics or scan documents, but for video, the 15 Pro wins if you're a creator. It has USB-C, so you can record ProRes log directly to an external SSD. That's a pro feature I use sometimes. If you just shoot casual video though, the 13 Pro is still incredible. Honestly, for social media, nobody is gonna tell the difference. Okay, let's talk about the software divide. Both are running iOS 26, and like I said, that liquid glass design looks great on both. But here is the main differentiator for late 2025, Apple Intelligence. The iPhone 15 Pro supports it. Because of that A17 Pro chip, the 13 Pro does not. So if you want the native Siri summarization, the writing tools built in, you need the 15 Pro. But I gotta be honest with you guys. For me, it's not a huge deal. Apple Intelligence is cool, but even now it feels kind of like early beta stuff. When I need real AI power, I'm opening Gemini or ChatGPT anyway, because they are just more powerful. So if you're on a 13 Pro, don't feel like you're missing out on everything. You can still use the best AI tools via apps. It's just not baked into the system settings. Now, battery life. This is huge. My 15 Pro at 86% health is okay. It gets me through a workday if I'm not glued to it. But if I push it, I'm charging twice a day. The 15 Pro just seems to drain a bit faster, maybe because of the brighter screen or the background processing. My 13 Pro though, since I swapped that battery myself, it's a champ. I get that unknown part message in settings, but who cares? It lasts all day. If you have a 13 Pro and the battery sucks, honestly, just replace the battery for like 50 bucks or do it yourself. It's way cheaper than buying a new phone and makes it feel brand new. So here is the verdict for late 2025. If you are currently using an iPhone 13 Pro, honestly, keep it, especially if you're comfortable swapping the battery. The performance with iOS 26 is still surprisingly great. You miss out on USB-C and native Apple Intelligence, but you save a ton of money. Go for iPhone 17 Pro, wait for the iPhone 18 or whatever comes next. However, if you are looking to buy one right now or you absolutely need to upgrade from like an iPhone 11, the iPhone 15 Pro is the better value for the long term. You get 8 gigabytes of RAM, which is crucial for future apps. You get USB-C, which is standard everywhere now. And you get the 48 megapixel camera. Just be aware of the heating if you're a heavy gamer. I've moved on to the 17 Pro for my daily, but this 13 Pro, it's staying on my desk. It's just solid. Anyway, that's my humble take. Let me know in the comments if you're still rocking a 13 Pro in 2025 or if you made the jump. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.